Hey, hello again. I know it's been a while, a long time actually, and mostly because I haven't had anything to talk about or haven't had anything submitted to CGC. But I did submit 11 books that came back yesterday, and I want to talk about those real quick. They're all Gonzo variants, and we'll get right to it. Some repeats on here that I've pressed and submitted in the past. And I'll explain why you'll see these repeats. So first up is a copy of Dork number 3, the Gonzo variant. Let me try and get a better... Yeah, you guys can't see the grade on that. Yeah, this is not working out. So probably going to be some editing here, maybe. I don't know. Well, let's see here. I'm wasting all y'all's time, and my lighting is absolutely horrendous. I'm just a guy in a bedroom trying to make a video. Okay. Okay, so Dork 3. This is a Presto's comic exclusive. One thing I'll note is that none of these books were pressed. I just rolled the dice, did some really hard really scrutiny over all of these books, and decided to roll with it. Some of these, for example, this Shredder number 1, this exclusive, I'm not sure why it doesn't say it, but I want to say this is one of those books that was done by a group of, well, I don't want to say it is. This is a book that was done by a group of independent comic sellers. A few of them are in my Discord group, and so I was able to secure a few copies. Let's see here. Okay, so this is a familiar face. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 1, the Halloween special, Saturday Morning Adventures number 1. So another copy of that. These by the way, there's a total of 3. These by the way have become incredibly difficult to find, and they average about anywhere from $40 to $50 a copy. So I've decided, what happened was I ran into a seller that had a few copies. He had 4 copies actually. Here's the third one. That there is the 4th copy. So he had 4 copies up for $25. It was late one night, and he listed them all. And so I went ahead and got all 4 of them with the hopes that they had the potential, because you just never know. And I mentioned in a previous video how some of them do have like a little bit of a, I think this is one that didn't have, a little bit of a light color rub by the staples. I mean, the color rub on these is extremely light. You can't even see it on camera. And that's another reason why I went with sending these 3 in. That one actually had significant, where I thought maybe at tops it would be a 9.4, 9.6, even with a press. So I decided to create 4 complete sets. One will stay raw. And so here is the Untold Destiny of Foot Clan, number 1. Now, it's a little bit hard to see. I kind of rolled the dice on it, but based on what I'd seen before and what I'd submitted, you know, a light waviness. This does have light waviness. I figured, okay, let's give it a shot, and it passed. Other than that, absolutely nothing wrong with it. Move this stack. We're down. That's 5, 6 more to go. All right, here we've got. Oh yeah, this is the Casey Jones variant. Again, I believe this is done by the same group of guys. Okay, so this has it on the label. The Comic Corner Paper Wolves New York Comic Con 2025 exclusive. So okay, so this is Paper Wolves, but I think it's sequential art, and another guy in our Discord group is part of this, was part of this getting together and commissioning Jay Gonzo to do these variants. Okay. All right. Here's one that got a little bit hot earlier this year. Death to Pachuco #5. This one also flew under the radar. It spiked, I want to say, about $25 to $30. But of course, I needed it for the PC. Very hard. It's a dark cover, but still great nonetheless. I didn't read that series. I found out about it very, very late. I might do the trade paperback deal in the future. Who knows? We'll get to that. Okay. Here's a copy of Dork #1, Jay Gonzo variant. Again, this is by Presto's Comics. This caught fire earlier this year, and a lot of it had to do with a new character, and I believe it was under ordered. This was initial buy-in of $15, and I actually got 2 copies. So I normally, when I like a cover, I like to. I don't like to, but I'll order 2 to 3 covers in the hopes that I can get a 9.8, for the 9.8 PC collection. And so that's why I have 2 covers of this here. What I'm probably going to do shortly, maybe in the next day or two, I'll do a separate video on some of these exclusives. You can see another one there. I've got issue number 5 on the way. I just ordered issue 6, and maybe some other. I'll talk about some other Jay Gonzo variants that I've kind of collected. And here is the big book, right? So that's number 11 out of 11. And again, apologies for the lighting. It's pretty terrible in here, but it is what it is. Okay. Calavera PI #1, the Jay Gonzo variant. This book has become a modern day ghost. And a month ago, there was a massive sale on this book. This is the 3rd copy, the 3rd of only 3 copies on the CGC census, and the 3rd 9.8. So there's three 9.8s in the CGC census, and only 3 copies of this cover. I want to say there is a copy of the cover B and a handful of copies of the cover A. Now, what's the so what about this book? Well, I've been pretty big on Jay Gonzo from the very beginning with his Turtles cover. And when I decided to send this book in, on this book, I hesitated for a good long while because this book is near perfect. The only problem on this book was a very, very minor, I'll have to take a photo of it, very, very minor like chip here. Like that, and that's it. That's really it. Other than that, this book is immaculate. So I figured I'll roll the dice, no press, no nothing, and send it in. And I'll tell you, I'm super, super happy about that. Now, I kind of went all over the place, and I apologize. The big sale that happened at the end of the month, last month. I'll have to check my data. Okay, so I had submitted this book. It was received by CGC on the 18th of May. A few days later, that auction was listed for this cover, and it went for $836 and change before shipping and taxes. The total for it was just over $900. How do I know that? Well, I'm actually the buyer of that auction. A couple of things happen. So, knowing how rare this book is, I placed a bid. I got the alerts, I got the email alerts set up on eBay, and this thing was listed. And I didn't hesitate. I bid $350. And I thought to myself, that's not going to be enough, I don't think. Let's bid $401. And I accidentally bid $4,001. And I told myself, okay, you got to retract this. You got to retract this bid. That's kind of outrageous. And then I thought to myself, no, it won't go for that much. Even if it went over $1,000, I was going to be okay with that decision. But I knew it wasn't going to go for 4,000. Why? I think, I'm not trying to bash the seller. I don't think he picked the optimal time to list and end this book. It ended at lunchtime on a Friday afternoon, I think noontime. I'll check the date stamp if possible. I mean, it was always quiet up until maybe the last minute or less than a minute. And one of our Discord buddies was actually bidding on this. I didn't even mention this to anyone that I was, that number one, that it was listed, selfish reasons, obviously, that it was listed, that it was available. You don't see these come up even in raw form. Since November of 2024 is when this thing was, November 24, when this thing was released, right? So maybe a little bit earlier. We all know about the release dates that are on the publishing, but I did not let anyone know, and I was thinking, wow, I'm going to pull this off for $300, just under my initial bid. And where I work, there isn't a cell tower, so updates to my phone take a few extra seconds, and I'm like, okay, I got to get ready to pay. And then the total came in. It's like, oh, pay now, okay, not a problem, paid now for it. But what's the so what? A couple of things happened. The seller messaged me right away, was grateful for the immediate payment, and he was asking if I wanted signature and delivery confirmation, which I said yes. Any big book, I will make sure that I get signature and delivery confirmation, because I don't want any mishaps, right? And if something does happen, I want to be able to file a claim as quickly and easily as possible, right? Because it's a big book. And I thanked him. Hey, thank you for listing this book. It'll never leave my collection. And his response was, hey, people were sending him email messages telling him, I will pay you a lot more for that book, right? So my assumption is the ending of this book at lunchtime on a Friday, people are busy, especially on Fridays, that they either forgot to bid or didn't have their alerts on or what have you. But he messaged me like, hey, this kind of happened, but I'm a stand-up guy, and that's not how I operate. And obviously, eBay monitors these things. So if he were to cancel the sale, like he'd be banned. And the dude has a perfect eBay rating. So I was really, really grateful. I told him, hey, this thing will never leave my collection. And I also let him know that I had just submitted my very own raw copy, with the hopes that it would come back. And you never know with these things, because it's very subjective. And so only one other raw copy has sold since this sale, and it was a $500 sale for what I estimated was probably a 9.2 to 9.4 candidate. There was some significant spine ticks on it, if I remember correctly. I'll try and pull it up, and maybe along with this video show like where I saw the flaws on that book. This book is incredibly rare. If you go on Cover Price, if you have an account with Cover Price, you can look it up, and you'll see that this book very rarely sells. Right? I want to say, and I'll check my homework. Since November of 2024, when this book was released, there was only one raw sale. This is the first, by the way, this is the first ever graded sale. I don't know the guy. There's a guy in my Discord group. He has the third copy. So this was the first graded sale anywhere at all, period. I'm the first buyer, right? So three 9/8, only 3 in the census, looking at 66.66% of the population. I digress. The point is, Jay Gonzo is getting really hot, really, really hot, too hot in some cases. And he was shocked when I shot him a note, like, wow, this is out of control. He has mentioned that this is his favorite cover during some Whatnot sales. People are after this book. Now, he did have a handful that he posted on social media. I didn't follow him as closely on social media at the time. I don't know what he sold them for. I want to say it was like 3 copies, his comp copies. And his words were, hey, I'm just going to like sell these and pick one up later. And he mentioned himself like he's got a lot of regret over selling his copies because he doesn't have one now. And back in the day, we used to use Comicron to look up print runs. All right, this is a 1 in 20. Some random Google searches that I could find had an estimated print run of 3,000 copies. A couple other searches said 3,000 to 5,000 copies. I'm inclined because this is an Oni Press, a small publisher, that the print run was probably somewhere south of 3,000 copies. So if you do the math, 3,000 copies, let's just stick with 3,000. 3,000, I believe, a 1 in 20, I believe is 150 copies, right? If you just go by straight math. But the reality is, and a lot of us that are out there that have been collecting for a while and speculating, if you will, for a while, we know that the small shops don't order 20 copies of this. I would argue that maybe only in really big cities, Houston, Dallas, Los Angeles, New York, I want to say Midtown was pre-selling this thing for $10, right? But something tells me that there are less than 100 copies of this cover out there, based on them almost never coming up for sale. Just they never come up. I forgot to mention, and again I'm digressing, I apologize. I paid just under $27 for this. So at the time, some folks were listing it. I believe Cover Price shows the sales, $40 plus. There's a couple $60 sales. And I'm like, man, I love his covers. He's still relatively new. I was under the mindset, I'll just pick one up, when more will become available. And I didn't put 2 and 2 together, obviously, only what I know now. And somebody listed it for $24.99 free shipping, and I jumped on it. And so after taxes, because we pay taxes now, it was under $27. So you can imagine less than $100 for, well, actually probably less than 60. I'll check the math for the shipping and handling costs and the grading. Somewhere south of $60, $65 tops maybe. I'll do the math. And now we have essentially a $900 book. And knowing that what the seller messaged me in terms of people wanting to or willing to pay more, that's probably north of $1,000 book right now, if I were to list it. Now, here's the thing. I am too patient to a fault. If you're out there watching, wondering, I will not be listing this copy anytime soon. I'm just not going to, because the truth is I don't have to, and seeing as the work that's going on, the amount of work that he's starting to put out, his popularity is growing. That Jay Gonzo, the Calavera covers, I think it'll only appreciate over time. And so what I'll probably do to maybe, because this video is already running a bit long, and I do apologize. Maybe what I'll do is I'll do a separate video here in the next day or two and just talk about the Calavera covers and what's coming up with Jay Gonzo. Anyway, I said a mouthful. Hopefully I can edit this video a little bit shorter to be a little more easily digestible. But I am very excited about this book. I'm so happy that it came in at a 9.8. And yeah, so thanks for watching. Have a good one.